welcome to Sports Console, your playbook for all things sports. I am your host Matt, and I am here with G and Bryant for this episode of the show. We are now 2 weeks into the NFL season, and things have been pretty disappointing for some big-name fantasy players. We discuss whether to preach patience or if it's already time to start panicking on their fantasy outlook this season. Plus, we reveal our fantasy starts and sits for Week 3. Today is September 16th, 2025, and this is episode 186 of the show. Court is in session. Hello. I am back.
Yes, you overthrew 2 tournaments, Matt. That is one hell of a vacation, brother.
I was on vacation. Gee, I did not do anything to disrupt the French government in any way. You know, I was just sightseeing out there.
Then why are we in court right now, Matt? Matt's on. For your listeners who can't see, Matt's on the stand right now. He has charges leveled against him, and we gotta get the show started.
And G's the jury, I assume.
Oh no, dude, not my jury duty.
Jury, executioner, everything.
You're on jury duty, G.
I am. For the far barrier resident listeners, if you're in jury duty tomorrow, I might be there with you, brother.
We might not see G next week if it takes a while, but we'll leave that to the next show. But yeah, good to be back. It sucked because I barely got to watch any football before 1 a.m., but I did try my best. And then when I got back to the States, everything sucked. Like the last 3 games have sucked. But I'm ready. I'm ready to watch.
That's an over-exaggeration, but
yeah, there were some great games, like the field goal fest that was between Atlanta and Minnesota. Wasn't that exciting?
Yeah, that was
okay. That game was bad, but the Monday night games weren't terrible. Like Gino played bad, but yes, I do understand that. But the game was semi-entertaining.
No, it wasn't. If you're an Amari and Hampton owner, like moi. But first of all, we are Sports Console. We are back in business. And G, where can the people find Sports Console?
I would love to tell the people. And for the people listening, look for sports_council on all your major social medias. So I'm talking Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. We're on all of them, and everyone we're on social is sports_council. In the link of those social medias will be our Discord link. That's where you come chat with us, get to know us, ask questions, more personalized conversations. We've been having some good talks in there. We even filled up a sleeper squad picks. So unfortunately, we are full. There's only 5. So if you want to start your own and get some people in, I'm sure there's more degenerates in that Discord ready to go. But we did fill ours. So, if you want to be part of these things, the listener leagues, the squad picks, all these little fun stuff that we'll be doing. We're always going to be around, trying to do this fun stuff with people, especially our listeners. So go join the Discord. And one last time, it's in the link of our description for all our social media. Go look at it, sports_council, all your major social media. You can't miss it. Can't not find it. If you can't find it, then that's on you. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun this season, no matter what. So definitely follow all the social medias and the Discord. But yeah, we are going to get into our Listener League recap to start. And I know that we kind of covered it last week, but just to kind of give a quick summary, we have a Listener League every season, and every episode we start the show off with it. And I know for those of you who are not in the Listener League, you can go ahead and skip ahead. But, we kind of do a lot of fun stuff with it. And we also have a very interesting topic of the week, chosen by one of our top scorers in the Listener League that you may want to listen to. But if you don't want to do it, you can skip ahead 15 minutes probably. But G, you go ahead. You were a big winner this week, so how about you recap this Listener League for this week?
If you want me to get right into it, I was going to wait till the end to talk about my matchup. But you already
go ahead. I'm okay.
You already told the people. Yeah. Yeah, as you can sound of it, you can guess who I played, and you can guess the results. I played Matt, the women respecters as my team. My kicker is Harrison Bucker. We're going to respect women here, so we played against Matt, the YMC3, the Young Men Club 3, Younger Than Ever, I think it is, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Sounds like a little baby album, but, it's a cool name. Nonetheless, I like it. It's original, but the score, not so good, not so cool. I beat you, Matt. 146 to 118. Wasn't really remotely close either.
Whenever I go international, I've sensed a theme so far. I went international at the end of last season, went international to start this season. Apparently, it's like akin to a substitute teacher. Like a teacher leaves, and then the substitute teacher comes in, and then with all the young men, they're just running around wild. They don't have any discipline. No one's doing anything. No one's trying to score out there. And I had a terrible score last week, and somehow managed to win. But I can't keep doing that, and I had a terrible score this week, so I couldn't win.
Yeah,
but
unfortunate that you ran into against me, man. But what can we do about that?
You gotta control those young men. They aren't getting any younger, dude.
Hey, man, I'm in the country now. Discipline is back on the table. Classes in session. We're gonna get things together.
A tad bit weird, but who really cares, right?
Huh? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, let's go to our next matchup. And actually, another man in this pod today that actually lost as well. Isn't that ironic?
No.
We have Team Nando versus the Indonesian Aura Farmers, 150 to 143. Much closer matchup. And if we take a look at this matchup, I feel like, it really decided by Amon Ra's third touchdown. That 7 points or some change probably ended the match. We got 39 from him. Like, it's hard to really beat that. Even though you got 31 from Adunze. It's just difficult to really do anything about that, right?
Betrayed by Amon Ra, glorious Amon Ra, the 1 week here. But I mean, the biggest thing was I realized, I was like, why am I losing so bad? Then I saw the Derrick Henry 1.2 points. Like, I think he ran once in the first.
He had
something
20
crazy
yards
like that. He had 11 carries, 23 yards. Okay, well, that's clearly why I lost right there. If he had even a normal game, be doing a lot better. But, these things happen. Yeah, I'm definitely panic selling Derrick Henry after this one, guys. But, yeah, just need
maybe I'll hit you up for him.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Happen.
Hell yeah.
We shall see. Yeah, buy low. Good advice, guys. Try to buy low on Derrick Henry right now.
Yeah, and you should sell him, though. Very, very, very much you should sell him to me. But we can figure that out off here. Go into some a little bit less scoring matchups, and still got to cover them. Someone's got to put up the 9-point matchups every week, and we're gonna cover regardless. That's just how we do things here. We got the Dang Bus and Gav versus his homeboy in the fourth down syndrome, Jamar, 110 to 98. Pretty low scoring matchup. Both of you guys would have beat both of them. So if that makes you guys feel any better.
Does not.
Yeah,
no,
I was gonna say probably
how
doesn't.
Fantasy works.
Yeah, it's just like rubbing it in. But yeah, no, doesn't mean nothing for you guys. It doesn't help in any way either. So sucks to suck, but you could have beat them. Let's go to our next matchup. We got a whole lot of baby mamas versus Celtics in parentheses. I'm not sure why it's in parentheses, but that's 141 to 113. Interesting matchup. Not very close either. Not the most interesting week, honestly, for our matchups here.
Hey, good job, Dylan. Dylan is a whole lot of baby mamas, which is an interesting name, by the way. I don't know why you're doing that.
If you guys know Dylan at all, it doesn't really, make sense. But hey, you can name your team anything you want, right?
As we'll see soon enough.
Yeah, I guess if you guys are listeners of this, you guys probably could guess who has the weirdest name in the league right now, but we'll get there. Next matchup, we got Team Midi Whoop'em. Did not actually whoop anybody this week. Lost to Decker, who was the highest scorer of the week for a second week in a row. The second week he's been in the league. Someone's going to have to stop him. Maybe one of us here as the podcasters, we technically maybe should take this into our hands and stop him from being our weekly highest scorer.
Going back to back. Decker,
even though he's picking cool topics to talk about, that's not the point. We need to stop him. He had a score of 146 to 154. Midi lost by 8, putting up 146. That sucks.
That's a bad break. That's a bad break for Midi. Can't do much when every single member of Decker's team is going to score double digits. Only Jerry Judy was a lone low spot with 9 points. But everyone else is just popping off. Like, he's doing well. Looks very unbeatable right now. And he is.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see with that. He's got Jamar Chase put up 36.5 points, but we'll see how that QB change affects it. Who knows? Maybe the times will change, or maybe he's bulletproof, really.
We don't know, but I'll tell you what team isn't bulletproof. These next two, an absolute shit off. I can't even call it a mid off because that would be assuming that they maybe even got to 100 points in their matchups.
It's an early toilet bowl.
It's an early toilet bowl. We got our favorite listener, Ugly Kid, at the Astor class team name. And you're wondering why? Because he put up 90 points and lost by 9. So 99 to 90 against J-Rock's E-Kittens or Microphone Assassin.
Oh, boy.
Honestly, not much to talk about here other than we can make fun of him for a little bit, which would be fun, which we're going to do anyways. But yeah, that was a terrible matchup. Any analysis here, guys?
I love the names. I mean, J-Rock.
Yeah, cool names.
I don't know. He had a different name before, after the end of the draft, that he reluctantly changed. Which I guess Troy Great Effect is good for us because we don't have to talk about it. And then he has a very interesting profile picture as well. That is all I'm going to say because I cannot say more about it. Good names, guys. Bad matchup. Bad game. Yeah. But I'm not one to talk.
I don't want to rub it in, poor Mr. Asterclass, but 3 of his players, Zach Charbonnet, Juju Smith-Schuster, and the Broncos defense combined for a grand total of 2.5 points. I am sorry, dude. So sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, also, I think you kind of have that coming when you start those type of players, but that's not here or there.
It's not good for Asterclass / Mick Youngboy because right now he's like the opposite of Decker. He's got 3 players total who scored double-digit points. One is Jawan Johnson, one's the quarterback, and then Jahmyr Gibbs is the lone bright spot on the team. So,
and he's yet to score 200. He is at 196 for total points scored. I feel bad that we keep talking about him and shitting on him as well. So let's move on. I'll give you guys a quick update on the rankings, just you can tell you who's undefeated and who's not. Me and Decker 2-0. Decker's at first. I'm at second. Then we got a bunch of 1-1s. We're just going to quickly go through them in order of 3rd to 10th. We have Mitty, Dylan, Romeo, Nando, Jamar, Matt, Gav, Microphone Assassins, and then our 2 have yet to get a win. Unfortunately, Bryant is here giving us fantasy advice and has yet to win a game. And
I have 282 points. That should be. I'm
that's actually
3rd in the league, but I'm 0-2. Otherwise, that's just fantasy. That is infuriating, I'll say. But so hopefully the luck gets better. I cannot be playing against the likes of G and Nando this week. They got lucky those weeks. We'll find better days ahead.
Don't worry.
I love the optimism. That's
you and me. You and me next week.
It's a first step to a better future is some optimism, and dead last, like we said before, is a ugly kid. We won't talk about it too much. Again, we mentioned it earlier. If you're the first place in our listener league for scoring that week, we will pick your topic to talk about. And this week we had Decker become first again, and he had a very cool topic, and it was best / worst nights out. More of a personal life there, but I think it's a fun topic. You get to hear some funny stories here. So why don't you guys kick it off?
Yeah, I can go first. So, best or worst night out? It's kind of hard for me to think about it. Like, do I remember my best or the worst nights? And honestly,
it's fair.
That can be for better or worse, depending on how you think about it. But I would say a night out. So, this was maybe, I think it was like the end of my senior year of college. And then I was out with some friends. We were at like a house party. I had a little bit too much, so I was kind of out of it. But we were trying to get back home, and my friend, he lives in like, it was me and this other friend, and we were leaving the place we're at, and this was like kind of like a gated apartment complex. So there was like one of those like kind of like a fence gate, the ones where you have to like push a code in. There was a fence maybe like 10 or 12 feet high up there. And so when we were leaving, we exited, and suddenly we heard a voice, and it was like, "Hey, can you help me out?" We turned around. I was like, "We don't see anyone." And then we looked on top of the fence, and then there was a dude. He had white hair, maybe, so I'm guessing maybe 45, maybe in his 40s, almost 50 years old. A bit on the heavier side, I would say. And he was just straddling the fence, maybe like 10 feet up, just sitting in the middle of the fence. And he's like, "Guys, can you help me out? I've been here for a while now." So it's like, we're looking up at this guy, and it's like, how the hell did he get up there? Why
is this on the campus?
No, this was off campus somewhere in like Irvine, I think. And there was just some dude on a fence, like 10 feet up, this older dude. I don't know where he came from. He seems completely out of it as well. So me and my friend was like, well, we gotta help this guy. So we somehow, with our combined ways, were able to support this guy and like pick him up just enough so he could kind of come down here. And then he thanked us, and then he stumbled off, wandering into like the night.
It's a 10-foot fence. Did you guys climb up or some shit?
Maybe not actually 10 feet, but it was like one of those fences where it's like, you could feasibly climb over it, but not this guy who's probably like, who's a bit heavy set. He's a bit older. I don't know how he got on top of the fence. I guess he maybe tried to climb up it and just got stuck up there. But then
Most definitely sounds like exactly what happened.
Exactly. So then we rescued this guy, and he stumbled off back into the night. And my friend and I looked at each other, and it's like, what the hell is that?
It'd be funny if he went back up on the fence again. I think.
Yeah, it would be hilarious. It'd be terrible for us to carry him back down, but that guy just stumbled off, and that's definitely was a lasting memory. It's like, how did that actually happen? I remember thinking to myself the next day. So saving a guy on top of a fence in the middle of the night, that was something.
That is a very wholesome story, given, I guess, people's nights out that you hear about, right?
Yeah, definitely sounds like a better story than I'm wondering what you guys have for us here. I know Matt's got some fun stuff.
I want to go last, G. I want to go.
You want to go last? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess mine's like not my best night out. I think it's just one of my most memorable nights out. Obviously, if you guys know me, I am what they call the residential Steelers fan. And, I've been a big supporter of all the players that have came through Pittsburgh, most notably one Najee Harris, as a lone supporter of his, I feel like for a long time. He is from the Bay Area, for a lot of people know. If you didn't, he is, born and raised Bay Area. I actually have a friend who is his part of his Beast Mode's production and Beast Mode, the whole thing, which has been, Najee's main group of people that he works with for his management, for his PR, everything Najee related kind of goes through there. And I was able to, talk to my friend. He's like, hey, we're all going out. You guys should join us. Najee's going to be there. We're getting this table at the club. And I was like, damn, this is surreal. So we get to the club. It's a nice San Francisco club. I live out here. We got, pretty faded before we get out there. We get to the club. He's there. And it's literally as surreal as the moments as it gets. I still have Snapchat videos of it. So maybe we'll post it on the Twitter just so you guys can see and stuff. But,
You dapped him up?
He's with all his, I dapped him up. I hung out with him in his section. I got to talk to him for a bit, told him what's up, told him I'm a huge fan. I don't think he wanted to hear that, but, just had to state what I had to know,
Yeah, man,
you're
cool. A Steelers fan. He's a Steelers running back. Like, that's a dream right there.
Yeah, that's a dream, exactly. And he's one of my favorite players, and, I've always wanted him to, even when he was in college, I have a Snapchat video of him, I think it was against Notre Dame, Alabama, and he hurdled a guy, and then I have the video of it. I'm like, dude, I want Najee to come to the Steelers. And because, I've obviously supported him because he's from the same area I am. So, it was cool that he made it to the Steelers. But only, I was able to see him, talk to him for a bit. Funniest story, I think, where I'll end this is, some people like to participate in what they call the devil's lettuce. And, maybe I'm one of those, maybe I'm not, but, who knows. But we were at the club, and while we were all hanging out, they were passing around, good old devil's lettuce. I asked Najee if he would like to participate, and then he said no, and I was like, it's all right, bro. I won't tell Mike Tomlin, which he also didn't really find very funny.
He doesn't seem like a, funny, happy guy right now in the story.
I think he probably had a great time, but probably just not my questions and things I had to say to him. Yeah, not really, which makes sense, but I thought that was pretty funny, like I have good to say I saw my favorite running back in the league, so that was cool.
That would have been crazy if you got to light up with Najee Harris.
You should have told Mike Tomlin.
I'm happy he said no, though. I'd like to know that he's in the right state of mind to be my team's running back.
Mm-hmm. And what happened after that in July?
All right. Well, this was a few years ago, before the firework incident. I would took it for the eye shot for him.
By the way, have we seen? I haven't been following in a while, but have we seen Najee without like a helmet or anything yet? I know he's played, but like,
not necessarily. I guess that's a good question, but not really.
It'd be very impressive if he's doing this all with one eye. But
one-eyed Najee out there. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. People were speculating that for so long, but like honestly, in this league where everything's so hot off the press, no news is probably good news for Najee.
Yeah. We'll discuss that a little later. But yeah, that's super cool, man. Definitely memorable.
Very memorable. And I'm assuming what you have here to share, Matt, you've hyped it up. We obviously talk before the podcast starts and what we're going to talk about, blah, 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 and stuff like that. Matt has been hyping this story up for quite a while now, so I'm excited to hear.
The reason why I'm gonna tell this story in particular, I mean, I have a lot of terrible nights out. I've had a lot of great nights out. Don't want to incriminate myself too much, so I'm gonna tell a story that's like a medium level for me, and maybe a worse story for a couple of other podcasters that have been on this show before. If you've ever heard of Gab or Nando, they've been contributors on the show. They're in this listener league. We went to college with them, and this is a lot of their story as well. So it's a very, very long story. It was a very, very long night. So I'm going to try to give like the short half of it, like the very first part of it, because I think that's the most juicy part. So we were in college at the time, and then I invited a couple of my friends out from Berkeley. Like, we were in Santa Cruz, they're in Berkeley, and I said, hey, come down and party up Santa Cruz style, right? And Santa Cruz style, if you don't know, means a party in the woods, right?
Oh, Jesus
It's
Christ.
just weird. It's a weird thing, but it's just the way we do things around here, right? And they're like, yeah, bet. I mean, it's super cool. So now we got like these expectations, like these two guys are coming over. We got to show them how we party Santa Cruz style. But, first of all, they're late. So like they take a while to get here, and we're kind of getting bored, and we have to do this pregame, right? One of the roommates, so Gav and Nando, they live together, and then they live with this third roommate, Grant. So I go up to their place first, and we're kind of just mulling around. Grant is bored, so he goes out on a bike ride, right? So he's just gone. But, I'm chilling with Gav and Nando. We start to pregame a little bit. We do this thing in our pregame. We do NBA blacktop shots. So we do one-on-one NBA blacktop, and the loser has to take a shot, right? Nando is not very good at blacktop, I must say, because he's starting to down these shots like crazy. Like, we have a bottle of Bacardi, and, he keeps on going back to that bottle every time. And me and Gav are playing, and all of a sudden, Nando's starting to get a little bit louder than usual. He's starting to stumble around. He's starting to, get really just fucked up, I think, as you can say. And he's getting a little out of control as well. He's like, Nando's a big dude, so he's like crashing into the desks and shit like that. It's a small place, and he's like yelling, and he's laughing really loudly. We have a couple of girls that are coming over, and then he's saying some weird shit to them. I can't really repeat it at the time, but
What the
he opens the door at one point, and he's just like, oh, do I say this? Do I expose him?
Yeah, you should.
Okay. He was just like, I want to fuck the RA, right? And we have to close the door. Gav has to close the door, and we have to make
Oh,
sure
my
that
Lord.
he's just in place, because now it's a pregame, and now it's starting to get to the postgame where we already have to worry about his fucking. There's always one guy, there's always one guy who fucks up during the pregame. He drank too much of the Bacardi, and now he's going out of control. And this is even before even my friends get here. And by the time my friends get here, long story short, he's already passed out. He passes out literally right when my friends arrive at the door. So now, what we have to do is basically we have to haul this dude up his bed, which is the top bunk, and he's a heavy dude, right? So Brian, it's just like your story almost, because except I'm not quite as charitable because I don't want to be. Oh, by the way, Gav wanted to mention that while he's doing his destructive drunken path, he steps on Grant's textbook and he rips that with his foot. So his entire he just bought that $80 textbook because it's the first week of college or whatever, destroyed completely. So Grant's obviously gonna get pissed when he comes back. But we pick this guy up, and it's 4 people, and we all have to pick him up, and we have to toss him onto a bed, and we kind of let him recover right there, right? And it's already starting to get late in the night just because we had to recover that for Nando, and then all of a sudden, Grant bangs through the door, bleeding. He's bleeding profusely from his leg. I don't know what the
Classic
fuck
Grant.
happened. And I'm
Jesus
like, what the
Christ.
fuck happened? And then he's like, no time. And he's like, Jeff, get the rubbing alcohol. Matt, get the belt over there on the coat rack, right? Get the chair over here, prop it in the center of the room. And then we put the chair in the center of the room. We get a light on the wound. It's a leg wound. I think he crashed his bike. That's what I think he did. He crashed his bike, and the pant leg is torn up and shit. And he has rubbing alcohol on his desk for some reason, and so we have to.
This is like prepared for like future himself.
Grants are always ready.
And he's like, all right. And then like I have to put the belt in his mouth and like a Civil War style reenactment.
It's out of the movie, man. What the hell?
What the fuck is going on here?
And so he poured the rubbing alcohol on his knee, and he starts gritting his teeth through the belt, and he's like spits flying everyone. And he's,
God damn it, Grant.
just like, and again, my two friends are here, right? And they're just watching all this shit play out. This is the first time they're in Santa Cruz, and they're just like, what the fuck just happened here? Like, you got one roommate who's just passed out completely. Like, he never even met them, basically. And they had to haul his ass in. And then Grant, being Grant, and he, like, and he was out of commission, basically, for the day. And, you know,
I would hope so.
We missed the party, basically, out in the woods. We still have a good time, though. We just sit back in the room and we drank Bacardi for the rest of the night. We did go stargazing, but that's a whole other part of the story. You'll have to unlock that a little later. But that was part of the...
Quite a wild story, I would say.
We had some insanely weird times in Santa Cruz. Definitely.
Yeah, sounds like Santa Cruz.
That's the moral of the story. Crazy stuff happens in Santa Cruz, and from the Bay Area, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Don't ever go to Santa Cruz. You won't be ready for it.
What's wrong with Santa Cruz, man?
That was wrong with Santa Cruz.
Fair point. Well, that was 3 really good stories. I kind of like them all for their little bits, you know?
Thank you, Decker. Love the topics so far. Great topics. I wish I could participate in the movie one, but, you know, it was very good.
Yeah. Unfortunate, you know, you were overthrowing governments.
Allegedly.
I'll let it be. I'll let it be for now. I'll let the people think it was all alleged.
They'll have to drag me to court. Either way, for now we're going to get into the fantasy football content. So it's hard to kind of ascertain everything from just 2 weeks, right? But we can only have the data that we're given, right? And I think the number one thing that's going on in a lot of people's heads right now, and the number one thing I saw in every subreddit, every Twitter post is it time to panic? Is it time to panic on Brian Thomas? Is it time to panic on Omarion Hampton? Is it time to panic on A.J. Brown? Like, all of these players, right? We drafted these players like 2 weeks ago, and some of them have been great. Some of them have been bad. And after week 1, it's kind of just like, you know, maybe it's just a fluke game. You know, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe it's just one bad game. But now it's week 2. 2 bad games have occurred. Now you're starting to kind of think, okay, maybe it is time to panic. Maybe it's not. So we're just going to go over a couple of those players right here and kind of tell everybody whether we believe that, you know, you should be either patient or you should hit the panic button on this player and start selling immediately or doing anything you can in order to get some wins out there. Because I think there's a lot of people that are scared right now, and we got to make sure that they're either appropriately scared or there's nothing to fear. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. I'm excited to maybe hopefully calm some nerves.
Yeah. I mean, let's start off with a player for UG, A.J. Brown. I don't believe he's even had double-digit games, right? He hasn't had, like, I want to say he has had, like, 5 receptions total this entire season over the last 2 weeks. And, you know, that's just not A.J. Brown. He's a top-flight wide receiver. He's been going in the early second, early third. So, you know, he's probably your wide receiver 1 at the moment. He's wide receiver 1 in one of my leagues. So, is it time to panic on A.J. Brown?
It is time not to panic. I think they're going to get this offensive game figured out. I have a strong feeling that, you know, 100 yards a game is not going to work the rest of this season. And it's also, do you want to keep A.J. Brown on your roster long term or not? Because if you do, then you're going to have to throw him the ball eventually, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you're not going to get away with him, you know, eventually, you know, he's going to become the main facet of this offense, especially passing wise. At any point, it's any week now. You know, the last 2 games, first week is just the first week. It's a lot of just kind of randomness. But the last week was obviously against the Chiefs, so you kind of have to do whatever it takes to win because you can't lose to the Chiefs, right? I think now they're going to week 3 much softer schedule coming up. You're going to see them kind of get everybody back involved. Saquon's going to play better. You're going to have Devontae play better. You're going to have A.J. Brown play better. I think it's just kind of due nature, as I would call it. So I wouldn't be too panicked yet.
I tend to agree with you, G. I mean, I think the one thing that would be a little concerning is that the new offensive coordinator, it just feels like his routes haven't been great in terms of A.J. Brown. And I think he's also dealing with the hammy. I don't think it's enough to panic, but I think there's a little bit of concern there. It's just like, okay, maybe it's not as good as, you would have it, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to start A.J. Brown? I feel like he's just one of those guys with that ceiling that is always going to be there where he can get 100 yards and a touchdown, right?
And I think the thing with it is if you're really panicked and you think about moving off of him, you just can't do it right now. You need to wait for him to have a good game before you think about even moving off of him. And then at that point is when you sell high. You never sell low. You buy low. You sell high. You know what I mean? So if you're thinking about this holistically for your team and your fantasy, what is best going forward, I would think about maybe trying to acquire A.J. Brown. His price won't be any lower, right? And if you can get him for a very low price right now, I would just go ahead and get it done and then move on, right? And then see if you can, trade a wide receiver 2 for him, just straight up. Maybe it's a guy that's playing really well right now, and you're just people are hyped on him, right? So that's kind of my logic with it, though.
That's pretty smart. Well, I mean, that's, I think, great logic for all these players we talk about, buy low, sell high for them. Even if they are bad right now, you got to wait for that really good game before you sell high for them. And I think everyone this season was the Eagles, they have to pass more, but I think they've kind of realized they can just run the ball to victory almost every game there. So who knows, they could stay in this current state. Maybe they do pass more. So we'll have to see for A.J. Brown. And that's a good segue, I think, over to the guy I want to talk about, who I have in a couple leagues here, Isaiah Pacheco. Another guy who, and he wasn't, of course, A.J. Brown being a first-round pick in many drafts there. I think Pacheco probably fell pretty hard, actually, towards the 5th, even the 6th round there. I feel like a lot of people, and I saw people, they picked Pacheco as maybe one of their hero RBs. He was the guy that I think when you saw him when it was time to draft, I was like, oh wait, you can get Pacheco. This is value at this point in the draft. There, this would be a great pick. He's still a young player. He's promising. He, of course, was injured last year for most of the season, came back and didn't perform as well. But, it's been a while since that injury now, so everyone's been thinking, he's going to be performing better. But these first couple of games have left a lot to be desired there. He's, I think, at the same level of snaps, or even being outperformed even by the likes of, Kareem Hunt.
Their leading rusher so far is Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. They don't seem to like their running backs a lot. They're having, not Pacheco, they're having Mahomes run around for his life out there. So not a lot of running back usage, and Pacheco looks like a stark, he looks like a ghost of himself from that 2023 season where, he was catching passes, he was running, he was efficient. I don't think he's had any. I think he's literally at under 3 yards a carry for every game for the last this season and the last season so far. So
is it time to panic?
Performing well,
or
I think,
it time to be
I think it is time to give him one more game and then panic, because his next game is at the New York Giants, and the Giants are the team right now who've given up the most yards to running backs by a long shot. I think they've been given up 350 yards to running backs, the most in the league up to this season. It's been only 2 games here, so I feel like this is kind of the chance this is it for kind of Pacheco there, where we're going to see him perform well there, and if he has one of these same games again against the Giants, then I think you could be justified to hit that panic button at that point there. It's Jesus, if he can't perform against the worst defense, what's he going to do kind of the rest of the season? But if he does, have a good game, maybe he has almost a breakout type game, then you can kind of look at it as is this that kind of sell high opportunity here? It's against, yes, it's the worst team in the league here, but is he going to have similar games or game scripts against kind of other teams at that point that could present that opportunity? So I think this kind of next game is pretty pivotal, just given the fact that it's against literally the worst rushing defense up to this point in the league here that can really help you decide kind of what you want to do with Pacheco at that point.
Are you going to start him, though? That's the thing. I don't know if you can start him yet.
I can't start him. I can't start him, and I'm also absolutely panicked about him. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating.
Somebody say panic?
Yeah.
Hit it?
Yeah,
pretty close. Panic. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Reactor alert. Pacheco's blown up in all the wrong ways.
This is all bad in my opinion. I mean, I want to be patient with him because you probably, like you said, you spent a fifth or sixth with him. I think this is absolutely cooked. I don't think this could get much worse. Honestly, he looks awful. Kareem Hunt's been playing better than him. Patrick Mahomes been running the ball better than him. He has a 7th round value. I know that doesn't mean anything now, 3 years into his career, but that means also they're not going to sneeze at replacing him, right? I feel like with the 1st round pick, 2nd round pick, you're going to keep giving those guys shots because you have to. You drafted so much into them. They're going to replace Pacheco with a heartbeat. As soon as someone with able legs can run the ball, they're going to replace him. And I'm pretty panicked. I almost thought about cutting him in one of my waiver wire pickups this week. But I'm going to give him a week on my bench, but I almost cut him.
Yeah, if he has that bad game again, you literally could consider cutting him, of course, depending on your league. But yeah, I wouldn't blame you if you did.
All right. Well, that leaves me. And I'm going to take a general scope here because, I mean, this is my specialty. A lot of people are worried about a lot of rookies, right? Travion Henderson, Omarion Hampton, Matthew Golden, RJ Harvey, Ashton Janty, Caleb Johnson. These are all rookie players right now. And I think more than ever this year, there was a high investment in these picks, right? In these rookies because they were supposed to break out, right? We all saw the Travion Henderson highlights in the preseason. We thought Omarion Hampton was going to take a big role if Najee was out for an extended period of time. Ashton Janty, he was drafted in the 1st round, 9th overall, right? If you guys don't know kind of my history and kind of who I am, this is the first time you've listened to this podcast. I have been a huge preacher of the youth movement. And that's the reason why my fantasy team's called the Young Men's Club 3, because for the last 3 years, I've been drafting them much younger than most of the other league mates, right? I've had rookies starting in my lineup every year for like the past couple of years. And I'm heavily leveraged in these rookies as well. Like I have Henderson and Hampton and Golden all in one team, which is, this team. So the one thing I can say for starting rookies is that you have to be patient. You have to be very, very patient when it comes to them. Because guess what? This is their first time in the NFL. I know the preseason snaps were good and, they got acclimated maybe through there, but it's a lot different when it's actual game speed, when everyone's hitting hard and they're trying to win. And obviously there's going to be veterans in the mix and, the coaches are going to want to trust the guy that they've already seen do some productive stuff in the NFL. So when it comes to guys like Travion Henderson and, Matthew Golden, there's going to be guys in front of them for now that, are going to get a lot of snaps, right? Because they have seen them be proven before. It's not a one-size-fits-all, apparently. It's not always going to be like, oh, it's just because they're rookies and they're going to adapt, right? Some rookies are busts, right? And some of these guys are going to bust, and maybe we'll take a look at some of them and, determine whether we should really hit the panic button on them. But for just the wide overall scale, I just want to bring up a stat here. Like, there's 5 rookie running backs that we primarily talk about in the draft, which was, Janty, Hampton, Henderson, Harvey, Caleb Johnson, let's say. And, there was, I think, some kind of statistic I just saw, I think on Reddit, where in the first 2 weeks, these rookie running backs all averaged under 10 points per game in fantasy for the last 2 weeks. You know who else was a rookie running back who averaged under 10 points in fantasy, in PPR, mind you, for the first 2 weeks?
Bucky.
Who was that?
Bucky, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, he only had 8 fantasy points per game. Devon Achane had 1 point per game.
And these guys were league winners, man.
Exactly. Jahmyr Gibbs, he was around only like 10 points per game. And then all of these guys, Alvin Kamara tripled his fantasy points by the end of the season. Jahmyr Gibbs doubled, right? Maurice Jones-Drew, this is a way callback, 1.9 fantasy points per game in his first 2 weeks. Then he went to average nearly 20 for the rest of the season. Right. Again, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but maybe we need to preach a little bit of patience when it comes to these rookie running backs, right? And, these rookie wide receivers, they're not even projected to break out until, the latter half of the season, and that's what you should understand going into it, right? I know it really sucks because you invested a high draft pick on them, so they're expected to be your starters, and they probably have to be your starters because otherwise you're starting maybe like a 8th round pick or an 11th round pick in front of them, That doesn't feel good, right? But you just have to be a little bit patient. If you can afford to kind of hold on a little bit longer, I know maybe you might be 0-2 and you might want to sell, but I would like to exercise some patience because it's going to pay off in a big way. There's always going to be some breakouts, and you could be holding on to one of them. So if you have the time, if you don't need to win now, and I know everyone wants to win now, but if you're 2-0 somehow, just hold on. Maybe bench one of them, but I would try to hold on for now because you didn't draft them for the first 4 weeks of the season. You drafted them for the last 4 weeks, the playoffs, and that's what really matters.
That was a bar.
There you go.
Let's appreciate.
I really want to double down on that. The latter point that you made about kind of like where you drafted them. I mean, as many games as you win right now, it does not affect like anything in relativeness to the overall season of fantasy football. Most of the time, the guy that's 2-0 does not win the championship. You know what I mean? So don't let this. Yeah, that's a fact that I have no numbers behind to prove, but other than just obviousness that who knows what's going to happen. So between injuries, opportunity, be patient, especially if they're highly drafted players in that draft. So the Hendersons, Hamptons, Genties, with the Caleb Johnston and Harveys, you want to kind of like give them a few more weeks before you completely write it off. Totally fine. But at no point in this season would I give up on those first three running backs first three running backs and the receivers. Like, I mean, Hunter, he's getting so many like opportunities in terms of just being out there. Like eventually he's going to get, it's all going to work out. I really want to stress like patience is like your best friend in most of these cases. And that kind of leads into our next set of players we're going to quickly mention.
By the
BTJ.
way, before we get to that, G, I just want to ask the group here: is there one guy? Because I know we kind of scoped all of these guys into one group, but is there one guy that you're most confident that it's going to be fine? And is there one guy that you're like absolutely, I'm actually going to just sell on this guy. I'm panicked. It's over.
The one I'm selling on is Caleb. I think Caleb Johnson he just fucked himself last week with that stupidity and kick return. Usually it's like the vice versa. If you want a guy that's going to play more, is that if he's on kick return, he does well, then he gets the touches afterwards. In this case, I think he fucked himself out of snaps.
Yeah. I will mention, though, by the way, everyone's blaming Caleb for that because he didn't know the rules. I didn't see a single person on that coaching staff tell him to run back and get that ball. That means they didn't know either. But they're going to give him the blame.
I know that rule. I know
that rule, but they didn't say anything. They should have told him to get back. That's the thing. I know
the Seahawks were already on the ball at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a whole thing, but either way, I do agree. And he's not even seen any opportunities. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Anyone you're confident on, though?
I feel like the obvious choices are always like kind of Janty, of course, and Hampton for Boseless, right? You're always betting on that, not fantasy draft, but actual real life NFL draft. I think there were second round level talents there, so you can always, never wrong to kind of bet on talent there. And Boseless players, I think they had things where it's like you're saying they're not pass blocking, the effort's not there enough. That's stuff that's hope is work out throughout the season where, who knows, maybe by the time the fantasy playoffs comes around, they are reaching those league winner categories there. So yeah, reiterating that hold strong approach. Yeah.
The two that I really like, besides the ones you named are the double Ohio State guys. Now that Judkins is back, starting running back this coming week, 100% start him right away. He's not a starter sit. He should just be starting going forward. And then Henderson, I think Henderson is extremely talented. Someone's going to have to show me that he's not the really good running back that I saw in the national championship, the semifinals, every round of the playoffs, most games at Ohio State, and even in the preseason. I know we did talk about how the preseason shouldn't matter that much, but he was insanely talented. Someone's going to have to show me that he's not, and I think this Ramondre Stevenson stuff will eventually come to an end. Hopefully this week it will come to an end.
I like Henderson. I went back and I watched the tape. Again, I couldn't watch any of the games, so I went back and I watched some replays of the games. One thing I want to say, so Matthew Golden, I know he didn't get a lot of targets and he didn't get a lot of points, but he was missed on 2 big touchdowns. And if he got a little bit better passes on them, we could be talking at least like a 15-point game in fantasy. So I would hold on him. Jaden Reed's out. I think he's perfectly gonna. He has the opportunity ready for him. Henderson, he got called on a couple holding penalties, and that's why he kind of got benched later on. They kind of disciplined him for that. But I don't think they're gonna hold the grudge for too long because that'd be really stupid and petty, right? So I think that he'll be back in the rotation. Hampton, man, it's a little concerning for me because he didn't look good. Like, I'm looking just for flashes right now. Janty had a couple of nice runs, and he had some like jukes and cutbacks. I'm a little concerned about him, Hampton, because I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it yet, and I need to see something.
I agree with you. He hasn't shown it yet, but I am confident that the Chargers will become the run-first offense that they were meant to always be. Like the Chargers becoming the number one pass offense this NFL season was not on my bingo card.
Yeah, I'm sure that will regress as it goes on. So hopefully,
yes, I agree as well.
Believing Roman doing Roman things and bring the run back into this team. So
yeah. All right, yeah. So like G said, let's do a quick cover of all three of these other guys. Brian Thomas, are we concerned at all?
No, you get 9-10 targets a game. They'll figure it out. That's their job.
It came out he was hurt last game too. That might have played a factor in how cautious he was. So no, we should be fine.
I think the same. Just be patient. Terry McLaurin. I'm going to step in here. I think I'm panicking a little bit because I already didn't like it when he started the season, when he's holding out. I think it's harder for wide receivers than running backs when they hold out because wide receivers have to get that chemistry with the quarterback. Running backs, they just run. Who cares? Like James Cook, he's been killing it so far past the holdout. But I think they're not on the same page right now. And it's a little bit like, I don't know if
not
it's going to be like an Ayuk
hurt.
Thing, right? Yeah, that's also not great.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree.
Semi panic there. I think you should still start him, but we'll see. Mark Andrews, it's over. Just
I was gonna say I think he's cooked, bro.
He was already cooked last year, and now he just has not.
And there was no Likely recently, if I'm not mistaken. Likely's not back yet, so it's like you're doing nothing with Likely out. Like, what did we plan when there's another tight end who's younger, faster, and probably plays better than you?
Yeah, it's like I think it was last playoffs where it was Andrews who missed like that crucial touchdown pass. He dropped that crucial drop. Maybe that's that can't be the sole factor, but like who knows? He's still
he was already bad before.
Hasn't been good since then. He was bad and hasn't been good since then.
It's like these games, it's not like the script is not going towards him. Lamar Jackson had 4 touchdowns for 200-something yards last game. Threw the ball to D-Hop, Tez Walker.
He's the top passer in the league, I think, by QBR. He's throwing like crazy.
And he's not targeting Mark Andrews. It says Mark Andrews just ass. It's not Lamar's telling us what we need to know. That's past the panic. I don't know. What do you do after the panic is like now you're supposed to panic. Like it's already happened. I don't know what the word is, but it's cooked.
Is it the canary in the coal mine? Like he's already dead? Like
essentially. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yep, I'd probably sell on him. Just over. I don't think you can sell. You just cut him. Honestly, straight up. Like, don't waste the roster spot. Mm-hmm. It's a tight end, by the way. So it's just like you can pick up another one.
Yeah, there'll be better ones available.
Yep. All right, that was Patience or Panic. Let us know if you have any other players that you want to suggest and kind of let us know about, and like we will kind of give our diagnosis on whether or not you should panic on them or not. But I think right now we're kind of on the same page. It's kind of like just overall be patient. Mostly preach patience. Like there's not a lot of, again, it's 2 weeks in to a like 17-week fantasy season. There's going to be a lot of ebbs and flows, and the opportunities and the situation will not be the same week after week, right? Everyone thinks that's the same thing. I think that's the biggest misnomer in fantasy is that everyone thinks that right now is exactly how it's going to be for the rest of the season. But we literally just saw the landscape completely change with Joe Burrow now being out. J.J. McCarthy's now out. Like, Vikings offense looks horrible right now. But now J.J. McCarthy's out. Maybe something's going to change, right? Joe Burrow is going to be out for the season. Who knows what's going to happen now? Like, I hate to say it, but there's going to be more injuries as well. And that will also probably affect some of these situations for these players and the opportunities that they'll get. So just keep that in mind. Everything's fluid.
I agree. Well stated, Matt. Very wise words from you, man.
Yeah. I'm always that wise, G. There you go.
That's debatable. But let's move on
let's
to
get
our
into
start
it then. Yeah, who's the wisest here? right now because, unfortunately, guys, I gotta call you out on this. You guys went 5-8 last week, and I hate to say it, but there was not a single start that was right, unfortunately.
I'll take some responsibility. I said Tyreek Hill, it was over for him. He had a great game. I said Pearsall would be the smash hit. Well, it turns out so John Jennings' offense. I saw Bryce Young, and no way that guy's any good. Well, he has some great garbage time hero minutes there. So
I want to defend my picks. Here before we get into our next week's picks. I had Sampson. I didn't know Judkins was coming back. I had Mayer. I thought they said Brock Bowers had a ACL sprain, blah, blah, blah. And then they came out the day before the game that it wasn't even a knee that he got hit on. It was a knee that hit the ground. So how am I supposed to know if the Raiders don't know that? So I'm excusing myself in my picks. This week I'm going perfect.
By the way, guys, thank you so much. You picked 3 of my players, and they all failed. So I think they were my 3 worst players, too. You guys jinxed me.
You're welcome, brother.
All right, well, let's get into these starts and sits right here. Who wants to go first with their quarterback?
Yeah, I'll go first because you were just criticizing my picks, and I want to go 1 for 1. So what better way to start 1 for 1 than going first here? I'm going to go quarterback. I'm going to go, you just talked injury. You brought up the guy that got hurt. J.J. McCarthy is out this week, at least for the considerable 2 to 3 weeks. I don't think he's on the IR yet. So Carson Wentz is going to be a start, especially against this matchup. I think we're going to see the best Vikings offense that we've seen so far this season, which the bar is pretty low. You're going to go against the Bengals defense. They're awful. We know that. We've seen it every week. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars probably should have dropped I don't even know how many points, as many as they wanted to, but they didn't seem like they were competent enough. I don't have that same problem with Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings, so I think they'll be much better than what we saw last time. I think they're going to hang 30 on them maybe. Wentz will do well. And then maybe some of his other teammates will be on our starts and sits as well because how well they'll be playing.
Do you remember who Carson Wentz is?
Yeah, one-time almost MVP.
Like when we were in college.
Okay, and you never seen the resurgence of Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield?
Dude, how old is this dude? Wait a second.
He's not that old.
Wentz played with this guy
29.
called
32.
Played with this guy called Nick Foles or something like that. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's 1 week. He's playing the Bengals defense. I have a great feeling that I could go out there and put up 200 against the Bengals defense. Come on.
I can't believe Carson Wentz is a start in 2025. That's just all I'm saying, I guess. But hey, man, let's see if it pays off. But I agree. I mean, I think they have the personnel. At least they have the talent on the outside,
and they have the coaching. This is not about Carson Wentz's talent. I'm not debating how good he is, how bad he is, what he's like. I care less about that. It's the worst defense in the NFL and one of the best coaches in the league. Justin Jefferson's still there. I'm going to take my chances.
You think that's the worst defense in the NFL?
It's one of them. They don't do anything good.
I'll show you a worse defense because my start of the week is going to be, again, Dak Prescott against the Chicago Bears.
Uh-oh, Chicago slander time.
Oh, boy. Yeah, because I've been waiting for this one, right? I mean, I have nothing against the city of Chicago, and I'm sorry because we have 2 listeners in our listener league who are Bears fans. One of them was just on this podcast actually last week. So, sorry, Mitty, it's nothing against you, but your team is just the worst. They're just the worst in every facet and category, and everything about them I despise personally. Because I've been watching Chicago football for the last couple of years now, and nothing about it is just good. I hate that I have to watch it every year, and so much so that I didn't even draft a single Bear this year, because the last couple of years I've drafted Bears quarterbacks and they've made me want to kill myself, basically. And I don't feel like that's even harsh words because that's just how it is. Yeah, and Caleb is not doing good either, so I've heard. And now I just hate that we have to continue to pretend like we have to hype up Chicago somehow and say, oh, they've had another great offseason, right? Ben Johnson's going to cook this year, and they got all these new guards, and they got new weapons, and they got Colson Loveland and stuff like that. Has Colson Loveland had a catch yet? I don't know. I don't
think he had one this past week, but
yeah. So, it's just, and now they got 52 bombed by the Lions last week. They got comebacked by the J.J. McCarthy Vikings, who we just saw just had one of the worst games ever on Sunday night. So if you're going to let J.J. McCarthy score 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against you, and then you're going to let Jared Goff hang 52 on you, even though he didn't do squat last time in Green Bay, yeah, I'm going to choose Dak Prescott to just murder your defense because, like, you guys have nothing good going on right now. And I think that it's just going to continue. The losing times are going to continue. Dak Prescott's probably mad as hell. And, he's going to just continue to have to show up and shoot out. And he's just going to win this game. And he's probably going to throw like 4 touchdowns because it's just that easy for him. So, there you go. I got more coming on the way for you. But that's my start of the week for Dak. For quarterback, it's Dak.
Yeah. It's crazy. We'll keep it rolling then. Moving on to running back now. I'm going to go with a Patriots running back, not Travion Henderson, which I said to start last week. I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson this time against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to bank on poor young Mr. Henderson is still going to be in the doghouse, or at the very least. They're not going to give him, well, he'll have some lesser snaps there. But the bigger story is, and I know you're a big fan of the Steelers, they are hurting right now on defense. They're losing, they got defensive linemen gone. Joey Porter Jr. is out. I think Patrick Queen is hurt. Their Slay, bless his old age, is also hurt as well. So they are hurting.
And Highsmith is out.
Highsmith is out. They are hurting all over the place on defense. Makes sense that really anyone on the offense there will have a chance to shine out there, especially with Drake May looking really good to start the season, in my opinion, there. So I can see, Ramondre getting more share of the snaps running back, at least for this week here, and just running all over the Steelers there. So yeah, look for Ramondre this week.
Damn it. Come on, man.
I don't like it. I don't. Other than me
like
being a
it?
Steelers fan, we have to play good defense eventually. And why not?
You mean
this
we?
week?
You're not we. It's Jacksonville now, buddy.
I'm still a Steeler fan. I mean, yes, the Jaguars are also playing. I can have 2 teams for now.
No, you said you weren't going to be a Steelers fan. That's it.
All right. Well, I mean, they need to still play better defense if they want to win my heart back.
They are the Steelers. They always have their defense. They got to find that identity.
Yes, they need to find their identity. You got smacked around the face. I think the lows of last week will definitely resonate with the team and hopefully lead to a better performance. I'll leave it at that. I'm not a fan, right, Matt? So I can't speak too much on it. I'll just jump into my start of the week for running back. I got Kareem Hunt. You were right earlier. You just mentioned something that I picked up on, Bryant. You said that the Chiefs have a very easy matchup for running back this week, and the Giants, who give up the most points. I just don't think it's going to be Pacheco, the one that gets it. I think it'll be Kareem Hunt. I think he's a better running back right now. I think he's more reliable. They trust him more, and that's usually what gets you touches. So I'm going to go with that. Honestly, there's a great chance it's neither of them. Maybe it's just more Mahomes, but I think if I had to pick one of the Chiefs running backs to go against one of the worst defense against running backs, I'd go Kareem Hunt in my opinion.
Gotta be one of them, right? Eventually. Just flip a coin.
Yeah, Hunt's looking more of the guy there, too. If you got Hunt for low in your draft, this is your time to fire him up.
I didn't even know
if he's on your waiver wire, go pick him up.
I didn't even know.
Probably still on the people's waiver wires, so yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the wide receivers here. I got George Pickens versus the Chicago Bears.
I guess we don't need an explanation, right?
Well, let's do a little bit more of an explanation as I continue to shit on the shitty franchise that is the Chicago Bears for a second.
Jesus.
But I mean, I'm not gonna talk about how bad they are personally, but like their defense is pretty bad right now, and it's not entirely their fault. They're missing a lot of key players, right? Jalen Johnson, I think he re-aggravated his injury last game.
He's out for the year.
Yeah. So he's out for the year because they rushed him back, and now he re-aggravated it. Now he's out for the year. Good job, guys. But Kyler Gordon, I believe, is also questionable right now. Tyreek Stevenson is not playing very well. So, I mean, I would pick all the Cowboys wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb is always an auto start, but we don't do that around here. So I am going to pick George Pickens to have a great game. I think they're just going to continue to feed that connection. It doesn't really matter. Just choose all your Cowboys to start at this point because, again, the Bears are allowing like the most points in the league right now. One of the most passing yards right now in the league. So, pick your poison. It doesn't really matter because they're all going to score.
All right, man. I guess you convinced me that the Bears suck.
Yeah, we'll see.
Finally.
Pickens. We'll see Pickens crash out in a good way against the Bears there.
There's not even anyone to fight on the Bears, so.
no one to crash out against. They're all hurt and everything. I'm gonna go for my wide receiver start. I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison versus the Niners. Harrison, of course, also one of those high pick for rookies last year too. Didn't have the best of seasons there. Had a decent game one. Did not do well in their week 2 matchup here. But going up against the Niners, I can see reason I'm picking this is a lot for what happened to the Niners the previous game. And they went up against the Saints of all teams there, right? Considered one of the worst teams in the league, and they let the Saints hang around there, and I think it was a 5-point game when all was said and done there too. And this Arizona team, they've played the Niners tough in the last season. I think AZ won both of the matchups against the Niners. One of them was one of those comeback last second games that we all hate Shanahan for as Niner fans there too. So I feel like this defense, Niners defense, as kind of games go on there, they haven't been doing as well, and that's where maybe Marvin Harris can find an opening, catch a touchdown, and have a decent day out there. So yeah, look for Harrison to have a good game. I know, G, you're going to be at that game, so you can watch for that Harrison touchdown. Hope it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. I'm a big Marvin Harrison fan, so I'd be cool with watching him go off. I'd love to see the Niners win, but cool with the Marvin Harrison game as well.
By the way, I didn't have a running back start, but James Conner is always a good bet against the Niners. He fucking hates us for some reason. I don't know what we did to him, but he runs a lot angrier.
You talk shit to him every time you guys play each other, especially I think it was from Fungi he hated the most.
Well, he's not here anymore, so maybe he'll go easier on us.
Well, it's too late now. He already hates you guys.
Whatever. But he would be my start as well, just based off divisional familiarity right there. All right, G. We're at your favorite time of the year, or favorite portion of the podcast.
Favorite time of the year. This is the touchdown guarantee. And we have some good ones here. I'm going to kick it off with TJ Hawkinson. Let's get in the end zone this week with Carson Wentz as their quarterback. When Zach Ertz was the Eagles with Carson Wentz, they love targeting his tight ends. I think he'll target his tight ends quite a bit. Hawkinson hasn't done much either, so I think it's a good bounce back time for him. Get some touches for him. He's one of your best receivers. His second best right now with all the injuries. Thielen has been basically next to nothing in this offense, so kind of wasted your time, if you picked him up like I did. He's been a waste. So, Hawkinson time.
I like it.
Yeah. I'm going to go for my tight end. I'm going to go with Harold Fenton Jr. versus Green Bay for the touchdown guaranteed. And he had a good game, or another decent game last week here. He's keeping pace with Njoku, seems to be doing well for himself, has found its place in this offense there. I know Green Bay's defense looking fierce to start the season. Micah Parsons running around out there, but I can see Harold catching himself his first touchdown of his young career here at Lambeau Field, doing a nice Lambeau leap up into the fans, a whole bunch of crowded Browns fans wearing paper bags over their heads. There will be a great way to celebrate a first touchdown for the rookie. So look for Harold to get his first touchdown against Green Bay.
As they lose 30-7.
Exactly. Gets the long touchdown of the game. Classic Browns.
I am going to go with Jake Ferguson versus the Chicago Bears for a touchdown guarantee. I think Fergie's going to get into the end zone at least once. I mean, it's just very easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, you think everybody on the Cowboys is probably going to score this week, so.
Everybody be feasting. I mean, it's positive, if Dak's going to be my start, then that means George Pickens is going to be good, which means Jake Ferguson's going to be good. So
that's the only thing it could mean.
Yeah, nothing else. So there you go. Chicago Bears, if you watch this, play my words. Maybe it's some locker room fuel, but you got to prove it. Prove it to me.
Damn, what are your sits like, Matt? You sit in every Bears player?
That would be a good idea, but no, I don't believe in the Cowboys that much. It's more of a hate Bears thing. But, I'm glad you mentioned the sits because let's move on to our sits of the week. I got 2 quarterbacks for you guys. None of them are Caleb Williams, even though you should play him anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, Caleb's fantasy is actually decent. He's like QB8 right now, but go on.
That's fair. Okay. Bo Nix versus the Chargers and Jared Goff versus the Ravens. I think these are just both really tough matchups for the 2 quarterbacks that are kind of average fantasy starts, and if it's a tough matchup and they're not really the best at producing fantasy points in the first place, maybe you should just consider benching them, right? Bo Nix against the Chargers. The Chargers have been very, very tough so far in terms of defense. They just picked off Geno Smith 3 times, and they basically made him look completely pedestrian. Right now, Bo Nix has not been doing so great against, likes of the Colts and the Titans, right? So I just don't see him having a great game right now against the Chargers, especially if Sutton's going to disappear or not, right? Because the Chargers have just been taking away everything deep. So I think that maybe Sean Payton's going to rely on the run a little bit more. Bo Nix is probably not going to be a great option. And then you got Jared Goff against the Ravens. I know it's a tough primetime matchup Monday night. There's going to be a lot of high scoring. But guess what? Jared Goff does not do well outside. And guess where the game is? It's in Baltimore, in the freezing cold. Well, not really freezing, but outside is enough for Jared Goff to crumble. I'm going to go against him this week. So, bench both of them.
Damn. I like him. I mean, I've been hating on Bo Nix all offseason, so I am in lockstep with you, as the kids say nowadays. I don't think any kids say that. But my set of the week is Drake May versus the Steelers. I think the Steelers defense is going to show us why they're the Steelers defense of old. There's going to be a good performance by them, hopefully. I am also just trying to speak things into existence here. So, Drake May,
why?
Throw us one. Come on, man. Throw us one, please. We need it.
I'm glad you mentioned it. We're at least covering our bases here. One of us is going to be right, hopefully, with these starts and sits.
Yeah, maybe they just run the ball, like you said, but at least I'll be right about Drake May.
Fair enough.
Funny enough that Matt said that one of his.
Man.
He said if he had a sit or a running back start, it'd be James Conner, but I have him as a sit this week against the Niners. Now, why do I say that? Just because I think this Niner defense has been playing good. I mean, the place you get them is not the D-line and the run game. It's been the pass game. Spencer Rattler threw for felt like 1 million yards against them last week, and which is a lot for the Saints, you know what I mean? So it was an underwhelming performance in the passing game. The running game is kind of less susceptible to me. So I'm going to keep them where they are. I think they're going to be solid again against James Conner. And like you said, they're always, hey, James Conner loves talking shit to them. I feel like there could be a little emphasis like, hey, let's just fucking maybe rough him up a little bit. Let me just not let him get going here, And the Cardinals have been getting Trey Benson going here. So I think this kind of might be like a little bit more of like a, hey, we might be down a little bit. Let's pass the ball in a conservative kind of mindset. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We shall see there. I'm going to backpack off the earlier topic kind of sit your rookie running backs and give them some time for it. I'm going to look at Omar and Hampton versus the Denver Broncos here. I think this is a divisional matchup once again. And then Chargers having a great start to the season. They're throwing the ball more. They won against the Raiders this week here. And against Denver, I just feel like they're going to go with their... And I think I should first say I think Najee had the same level of carries or of some sort compared to Hampton in the previous game. Their good old 1-9 Najee still running it. So I wouldn't be surprised if for the running back, the offense chose to go with Najee more, especially with a game like this here against Denver. So basically, I think for Hampton, we'll have to see some good games from him, or just see some more flashes of brilliance that we thought would happen with him. I don't think that's going to get right against the Broncos here, at least for this week.
I'm 100% with you on benching Hampton. Like, he's got to prove it to me. Like, right now, like, I watched him. He just doesn't look good right now, and he needs to show me something, like show a flash of something before I could consider starting him. Like, there's these projections, and they keep projecting him for like 12 points a game or something like that, and I'm just like, I don't see it yet. Like, how can you project that
for now?
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's very hard to trust. So yeah, I definitely agree. You should bench Hampton for now. Another rookie that you should consider benching, moving on to the wide receivers here, is Ted McMillan versus the Atlanta Falcons. And notice that, guy. Yeah, I mean, I love Ted. I purposely didn't really talk him up on the pre-draft shows because I really, really liked him. And I noticed that we didn't bring up his name in the kind of panic of patience because he's actually been really good so far. He's had double digits in both PPR games so far. And, Bryce Young's clearly number one target. But now the rookie has to face A.J. Terrell. And I just worry about that matchup. He's shut down everybody in particular so far. The Atlanta defense is probably going to be really, really, just pin their ears back and kind of go rush Bryce Young, especially when he's lost both his left guard and his center now for the rest of the season. So I just worry that he's not even going to have enough time to find McMillan. If he does, A.J. Terrell's going to shut that down, just like he did with kind of Jedez last week. It's going to be a really tough challenge for the rookie, and maybe he's going to do incredibly well in his third game against one of the best cover corners in the league, but I'm going to play the odds and say that it's going to be a tough time for him.
Yeah, I like that matchup. I think it's the matchup for him to be sat. So A.J. Terrell and the Falcons defense have been showing well. And if there's anything that we know about matchups, it's that Miami Dolphins go play Buffalo Thursday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, any day of the week. They always going to stink the bed. And usually when they stink the bed, the biggest person that stinks the bed on their team is Jalen Waddle, who actually showed up on the injury report as well today. So he's not only questionable.
It's not showed up. He just stays there.
Yeah, he just stays there. He's a weekly occurrence. I don't like the matchup. Like I said, Tua never plays good against Buffalo. I'm not sure if you could find a good Tua Buffalo game. So just don't even worry about it. Dolphins guy, maybe get H-Chen starting. If you really don't have anybody besides Tyreek Hill to start, I would start him as well. But for the most part, these guys are going to shit the bed, probably lose by at least 20 to 30 points. This is going to get ugly. I would imagine Josh Allen is probably out the game by the third quarter again.
Oh, man.
This is going to get bad. It just usually does. And it's Thursday Night Football. It's a quick turnaround for both teams. And that means less preparation, more of what you know. And what do we know? The Dolphins always suck against Buffalo. So give me Jalen Waddle to be a sit this week.
Is Mike McDaniel getting fired after the game?
He probably should have been fired yesterday.
Yeah, I guess a little too early for the whole 2-0 cold game conversation to come to picture there, but
doesn't even matter if it's cold or not tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, it's a complete blowout. Looking for it in Buffalo versus Miami there. Finally, going on to tight ends here. Gonna stick with that Denver Chargers game. Looking at Evan Engram versus the Chargers, you should not start Evan Engram. Yeah, they say he was hurt last week there, but I think Adam Troutman was the one that caught the touchdown for them there. So Engram isn't doing the best for tight end there. And I also just really didn't like, all offseason, everyone's like, Evan Engram's the Joker for Sean Payton's offense. Surely the Joker is going to work out. Yeah, so the joke is on narrative. Us. The joke was on us for following the stupid hype. I don't think the Joker exists. Do not play Engram. He looks like a Joker closer than he actually is on the field there. So
give into your Engram hatred. We've all been consumed by it.
And
especially Dylan.
I've played Engram in the past. But yeah, Engram, very, very hit or miss kind of every year there. He does not seem to be like a hit on this Broncos team.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm obviously going to sit Mark Andrews versus Detroit. Just cut him. There you go. Don't even need to have a discussion. Christ. We had a discussion on it.
Sit, it's a cut.
Yeah, it's just, when you have to sit a tight end, are you really going to sit a tight end and keep him on your lineup, on the bench? If he's not, good enough for, 5 points, which is usually the average of a tight end, right? You just cut him. Who's going to pick him up, right? That's the thing. You shouldn't be worried about the production, what if someone else picks him up, right? If you really believe that you can't even start him in a position where, they don't even score that much in the first place. So, don't roster 2 tight ends if you can't even trust one of them. Just cut them, right? You'll find them tomorrow.
You'll find them tomorrow. It's crazy.
I'm back, baby.
They'll always be there. There'll be a trash tight end for you to pick up.
Exactly.
Now you can convince yourself we'll have a good game.
That'll do it for our starts and sits for week 3. We'll have our full list of starts and sits on our social medias. Again, that's sports_council on all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, all the like. You'll see the full list there, as well as our kind of chosen starts and sits of the week. And then you can always ask us any starts and questions that you want on those social media pages, as well as our Discord. So you can join our Discord. Let us know in there. If you don't want your league mates seeing kind of what you're posting on social media and that you're struggling over these decisions, just come into our Discord, say it privately to us. We got you covered. So there's always that. Let us know. Follow all the social medias and join the Discord.
Nothing else to be said, man.
Yeah, that'll do it. Thank you so much. God, I miss this. starts and sits, everything's back to normal. Panicking over players. It's what it's all
Good
about.
to have you back, man. You just got to beat those allegations, and we'll be all good.
What allegations? Which allegations, actually?
What are you doing? Do you have to bring up France again?
Oh, only those allegations. Okay, that's okay. That's fine.
And the ones about being attracted to young men.
That'll do it for today's show. Thank you, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.